luring an assassin by putting himself in the line of fire. A runaway befriends a captive whale in Free Willy, and a 12-year-old boy becomes the Cubs' star pitcher in Rookie of the Year.
I think Booth may be here.
I thought you couldn't identify him.
I can't. Just call it a hunch.
With all due respect to your psychic abilities, we'll stick to the game plan. All posts take your positions.
You've got a fever, Frank.
Stay alert in there now, will you?
Clint Eastwood is a Secret Service man who blames himself for the Kennedy assassination and doesn't want another president to die in the Line of Fire, one of the new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. And we'll also take a look at a new film about a friendship between a boy and a whale. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Sort of reminds me of our relationship. And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune. Our first film is In the Line of Fire, and this is a terrific thriller marred only by the exploitive use of the Kennedy assassination footage in telling the story, as Roger mentioned, of a disgraced Secret Service agent trying to redeem himself by stopping a new assassin who's hot on the trail of a new president. Clint Eastwood plays the veteran agent who feels he personally blew his mission when he failed to stop Lee Harvey Oswald. Now a would-be assassin is on the loose, and he knows all about Clint Eastwood's character, as Eastwood and his partner find out when they break into his apartment.
Oh, my God. That's you.
The assassin even dares to introduce himself to Eastwood over the telephone, as the movie turns into a mano-a-mano between two men who define themselves through the presidency.
Where are you?
Closer than you might imagine. It's very exciting to talk to you. I feel like I know you.
Oh, how's that?
I've read about you, seen photos. You were JFK's favorite agent, the best and the brightest. But that was a long time ago.
John Malkovich plays the assassin, and he creates a great sicko, dodging federal agents at every turn and payphone.
That's him. Al, that's him.
Eastwood, too, gives a superb performance, one of his best, as a tough guy with a broken heart, drawn to another Secret Service agent played by Rene Russo.
You know, every time I start to sympathize with you, you say something that really annoys me.
Why sympathize?
The tape of that phone call, when he mentioned your wife.
Ex-wife.
At any rate, I'm sorry.
It's strange that the only sympathy I get these days is from a would-be assassin or a woman I tend to annoy. Would you care to dance?
Some good writing there, and in many other scenes by Jeff McGuire from his original screenplay. In the Line of Fire was directed by Wolfgang Peterson of Das Boot fame, and he does know how to keep a story moving along quickly, but here he basically has to just step back and let Eastwood and Malkovich do their things. Eastwood is never less than compelling. He shows strength and humor and vulnerability. People, I think, forget he's an excellent film actor, and Malkovich is creepy, so obviously I recommend In the Line of Fire.
They are good together.
Yes,
and
they
you know,
are.
you've often said that a thriller is only as good as its villains,
Yes.
and in this case, Malkovich creates a very compelling villain, this former CIA guy who really knows how to push all of Eastwood's buttons and get him going. And this movie is intelligent, it makes you think, it's ingenious, it's plausible, it doesn't have a wasted scene in it, it moves from beginning to end with a tremendous amount of tension, and after some of the overinflated films we've seen this summer, this is good filmmaking.
Well, I think that it hangs on Eastwood's performance, too.
Yes,
I mean,
it
this
does,
guy
yes,
is a minimalist actor who his slightest move, even when he has his back to the camera in one scene, and he's sighing, and basically he's near tears, the scene works. Now, that's good. I mean, that's an actor who's got it all. The other thing I will ask you about, did you have the same reaction I did to the Kennedy stuff?
No, in fact, I thought it was rather clever the way they were able to insert footage of the young Eastwood in the background of some of those things.
Well, why do they have to have
been used so often over the last 30 years.
It's been desaturated in meaning?
In a way, it's
Not
been
for me.
desensitized.
Not to me. And when they show the moving video, and frankly, they take the frames where Kennedy's head explodes, I thought that's not necessary.
I think that's a very small part of the film, even so, and it didn't really bother me. I think I'd rather point out the good things in the film.
Well, there are good things, and I did.
Okay, next film is named Son-in-Law, and it stars comedian Pauly Shore, one of the dudes in Encino Man, as a weirdo college dorm advisor. When a young and unsophisticated South Dakota girl goes to college in California, her father is shocked to meet the resident advisor, in residence all right, right across the hall in his daughter's co-ed dorm.
Sorry, I need a screwdriver.
I'm sorry, I'm all out of vodka.
No, I need to borrow a real screwdriver.
That's Lane Smith as the father. The girl is played by Carla Gugino, and she shocks her family and her boyfriend by bringing the advisor home for Thanksgiving vacation.
Well, where's your friend, dear? Oh, he was right.
Hey.
Guys, this is Crawl.
Crawl tries to fit into the South Dakota social mode by wearing what he thinks is Western wear.
Listen, you guys, I was feeling really, out of place. But hey, check it.
He looks more like a cowboy at Chippendales there. That's Patrick Renna, who has fun with the obligatory role of the younger brother, though. He's pretty good. Back on the farm, there's a lot of barnyard humor, all at the expense of the city slicker. And then there's a plot about how the heroine doesn't want to marry her boyfriend, so she claims she's engaged to Pauly Shore, and then Pauly starts to ingratiate himself. One of the strangely unsettling things about Son-in-Law is how much Pauly Shore resembles Richard Simmons. I kept waiting for him to get everybody out in the front yard for exercise. But Simmons has never been anywhere near this obnoxious, and the movie fails because we can't for one moment believe anything about the character, and especially that everyone would start to like him.
Absolutely. This guy is the most obnoxious performer in the movies today. He really is. If I had a choice, if you said you can watch Pauly Shore for 90 minutes or Andrew Dice Clay for 90 minutes, I'd take Clay. And, I mean, he's that bad. And he does remind you of Richard Simmons without the sweetness. And the problem is, the film is built on a lie, which is that we're supposed to root for him to transform this farm girl when the farm values are far more interesting than his values.
I mean, this guy needs major personality transplant. I mean, if that farmhand, the guy that takes him out there and teaches him how to step in the cow manure and so forth, really took him in hand, after about 6 months or a year, he might begin to show signs of developing into a human being.
And why not have that happen?
Yeah.
Why not have the farm people transform him?
Yeah, because this isn't a bad family. They're actually pretty nice. And even the boyfriend, it's so artificial the way that he's forced into this strange deception. Right.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. Coming up next, just in time for the summer, Rookie of the Year, a film that mixes baseball and kids and the Chicago Cubs.
From Walt Disney Pictures, in the great tradition of Disney family entertainment, comes a bewitching new comedy.
Hello.
They're three brave kids.
Catch those children.
Out to stop three mixed-up witches.
Yes.
Before they run amok.
Come on.
In a story full of magic.
Nice going, Max.
You can talk. Excitement. And Disney fun.
She did it.
Hocus Pocus, rated PG. Starts Friday, July 16th.
Mom, watch this.
Wait!
That's young Thomas Ian Nicholas, a 12-year-old with a magical arm in Rookie of the Year, a Formula Kids baseball movie that is much more entertaining and clever and funny than you might expect. I think it's the best new children's film of the summer I've seen. Nicholas plays Henry Rowan Gartner, a kid who trips and breaks his throwing arm in a playground accident, but his injury heals in a strange way.
Now bend at the elbow. Good, good. And now rotate from the shoulder slowly.
How powerful is little Henry's arm? Here's what happens when he throws a ball back from the bleachers at beautiful Wrigley Field.
Oh my God!
Eventually, Henry does join the Cubs, where he runs into a wacky pitching coach played by Daniel Stern, who also directed this film and is best known as one of the Home Alone robbers.
It's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna take a lot of sweat. But eventually, I'm gonna mold you into one of the greatest 12-year-olds that ever played this game.
On the field, Henry is befriended by an over-the-hill pitcher played by Gary Busey.
Everybody is half win and half lose.
Okay.
The lose half is afraid.
Right.
The winning half is fearless.
Fearless. Right.
The have-to is inside. It's where the fear lives.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Could you start over again?
Let's play ball.
This kid has an appealing personality. Rookie of the Year works for adults as well as kids because it offers surprises at every familiar turn the story takes. There's a strong mom character, that funny pitching coach you saw, and in the baseball scenes, there's some imagination in the ways in which little Henry helps the Cubs win the big games. There's some fresh ways of getting outs. I saw this picture once as a critic, and then I took my whole family and enjoyed it a second time. Daniel Stern proves to be a careful and enterprising first-time director. I liked it a lot.
I enjoyed it, too. You're right to say it's a formula picture, and you're also right to say that on occasion it surprises us with what it does. For example, at the end, you kind of expect that maybe he'll win the big game because I think it's written in stone that all movies end in that way, this kind of movie. But the way that he does it is very unusual and very surprising.
And also, there's a lot of little things, like going on the road, and when the guy gets locked into the little closet area. There's a lot of surprises. The writing is bright. Stern does a good job in the comic.
One of the things that I responded to was right at the beginning, because I was just as bad in Little League as this kid was, and I always dreamed. I mean, all I could do, the thing I could really, in terms of baseball, the thing I was best at doing when I was 12 was turning on the Cubs broadcast. So I could really identify
I think every kid can identify this fantasy of playing for a Major League team. That's been used before, but this writing is fresh and it's good.
Okay, when we come back, Free Willy, the story of a boy and his whale.
Woo!
A troubled young boy gets a job at a seaquarium there and discovers that a captive orca whale responds to the sound of his harmonica. That's in Free Willy, one of the summer's most magical entertainments. The movie stars Jason James Richter as the boy who discovers he has a gift for communicating with the whale, who is named Willy.
You're supposed to eat it like this. Eat it. No?
I have to admit, I had a little trouble believing that Willy would spontaneously be able to figure out how to shake his head yes and no, but other scenes involving the whale are completely convincing as the kid finds ways to train him and become his friend.
Well, I can do that too. You do it with the other arm? Yeah? You do it with the other arm?
The boy's foster father, played by Michael Madsen, wants to communicate with the kid as much as the kid wants to talk to the whale. Eventually, they get on the same wavelength in a desperate scheme to save Willy and return him to the ocean and his family instead of to certain death.
Go for it.
Free Willy is an enormously effective movie, and one reason for that is the convincing way it shows us the relationship between the boy and the whale. A real whale was used, and also some special effects and some mechanical whales, but you can never tell the difference, and as their friendship builds, it plays against a background story of a boy and a whale both searching for their families. The young hero is not painted in sentimental terms. He's a tough kid, and the people around him are realistic, too. This is a terrific family movie.
I didn't like it as much as you, Roger.
Oh, come on,
no, seriously.
Gene.
I didn't buy the kid as a tough kid. I saw him as a movie tough kid. That was where my problem started. But again, naturally, I'm involved in the beginning with a boy and his dog story or a boy and his whale story. Of course I'm involved. But then I want it to be a little complicated, have a little surprise. I thought this was a straightforward march to the big finale scene. And so when they're taking the whale to freedom, my heart wasn't rooting. And I can't deny it, and I'm not going to pretend, because I know little kids are going to like it.
Well, I know little kids are going to like it, and big kids are going to like it too. In fact, I think this is actually a better movie than Rookie of the Year.
No, I thought that Rookie of the Year, they're both formula pictures. I thought Rookie of the Year was more inventive along the way.
It's not every day that, I mean, you can say it's a formula picture, but on the other hand, what about the whole
relationship? The whale's captive, the whale's free. I mean, that's
come on, it's not quite that simple.
Oh, it's pretty that simple.
Oh, come on. What about those long nights that he spends getting to know the whale? And, you know, when he runs away from home and he plays his harmonica, those are magical scenes.
Let me tell you this. The other thing is I have a problem with the whale as a creature to be loved. Give me Flipper anytime, maybe, is what I'm saying.
Well, I just don't know where to start in arguing with that one. Coming up next, Jacquot, a tribute from one world-class filmmaker to another.
Jacquot is something rare, a filmmaking tribute from a wife to her husband, and what a wife and what a husband. Director Agnes Varda, best known for her films One Sings, The Other Doesn't, and Vagabond, was married for 28 years to legendary French director Jacques Demy, best known for The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Before he died in 1990, Varda rushed to make an impressionistic docudrama of Demy's happy childhood that led him to take up filmmaking. Early on, we see a moment between young Jacques, or Jacquot as his nickname was, and his father at the family gas station, a scene that would be recalled in The Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
C'est terminé, oui. Le moteur cliquait encore un peu à froid, mais c'est normal.
Another reminiscence, a scene from a childhood puppet show, is reprised in another Demy film, this one starring Catherine Deneuve.
Vous allez vous envelopper de cette peau. Oh, quelle horreur! Faites ce que je vous dis, tout est prévu à cet effet.
Désormais, on t'appellera Poudane.
We also get to see young Jacquot's early attempts at filmmaking. He desperately wanted to go to film school.
Va rallumer, Yvon.
C'est pas long, mais c'est dansant.
Jacques Demy is a national treasure in France, and Agnes Varda is a marvelous filmmaker. But this ambitious biography left me unmoved. It was like I was reading just the footnotes in a book and not the text. I wanted the movie scenes to go on longer, or the childhood scenes to go on longer without interruption. Or I would have preferred a more journalistic style interview. Or, tough as this may sound, maybe it's a case of a man's films being more interesting than his life. I enjoyed Jacquot, but not as much as I would have liked.
Oh, gee, Gene, I really love this movie, and I thought it was so unique the way that this woman who knows that her husband is dying makes a movie in which she has actors play him as a young man. She shows scenes from his films, and then he is able to talk and remember things in his last months in the film, too. It's just enormously moving, and there are scenes in here that are so touching. How can you say his films are more interesting than how he became a director? For example, when he gets to the little chaplet film, and he looks at it over and over until he's tired of it, and then he gets the idea of erasing the film and drawing his own images on it and making his own film.
Roger, you know what? I would have liked to have seen, it's the rhythm that she's got going here that interrupted the film for me constantly.
Not at all. It's an original way. It's an original approach to documentary, I think.
Well,
it's first of all, if anyone has ever wanted to be a filmmaker, here was a story about how a great filmmaker started out as a kid using his toys in order to learn about film and to learn about making
I will tell you,
films.
the beginning part of the movie, for me, was obviously appealing in all the ways you're saying, but then I felt it went on with all of this frustration to get into film school, and I got the point early on, and I thought it was repetitive, and basically I wanted to either see the movies or see more of his story.
I think it's one of the real most moving moments.
These are great people. I'm surprised at my reaction to it, but that is my reaction.
Well, I think it's just a greatly moving film. When we come back, our Laserdisc Pick of the Month, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Siskel and Ebert Laser Pick of the Month is brought to you by Pioneer Home Theater. You don't just watch it.
And now it's time for our Laserdisc Pick of the Month, an extraordinary laser production of Francis Ford Coppola's 1992 film, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Even if you didn't like the movie, you might enjoy the disc, which allows you to freeze every frame and includes background on Dracula, the book and legend, and film subject, explains how the special effects were achieved, goes into costume and set design, and even shows the cast during readings and rehearsals. But the neatest thing on this disc is an editing workshop where the disc shows you several different takes of every shot in one of the scenes. Here are actors Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves doing a scene with different emotional readings.
We've waited this long, haven't we? We've waited this long, haven't we? We've waited this long, haven't we?
Can be married when I return. Can be married when I return. We can be married when I return.
By programming your laser machine, you can play editor, choosing your own favorite takes and then letting the scene play. For example, should it go this way?
We've waited this long, haven't we?
Can be married when I return.
Of course.
All right.
Or should it go this way?
We've waited this long, haven't we?
We can be married when I return.
Of course.
I must dash. Mustn't worry. All right.
The possibilities of interactive video on Laserdisc have rarely been explored at this level, and the Criterion edition of Coppola's Dracula is our Laserdisc pick of the month. Now let's take a look at the movies we reviewed this week. 2 big thumbs up for Clint Eastwood's In the Line of Fire, a terrific and intelligent action thriller with a great performance by Eastwood and a great supporting performance by John Malkovich as a would-be assassin. 2 big thumbs down, however, for The Dreary Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore as a tiresome and obnoxious dorm advisor. 2 thumbs up on Rookie of the Year. It may start out as formula, but it struck a note, as we think it will, with a lot of kids who have dreamed of playing in the major leagues. A split vote on Free Willy, the story of a friendship between a boy and a whale. I thought the special effects in a trained whale combined to make an incredible story seem almost believable. Gene didn't buy it. The movie opens next week. Finally, a split decision on Jacquot, Agnes Varda's loving and affectionate tribute to her late husband, the French film director Jacques Demy. It helps to show why some directors are born, not made. Gene thought it was repetitive.
So In the Line of Fire is the one that we both liked the best. That's it for this week. Next week we'll be back with a look at some buried treasures. It's a special show in which we recommend 10 overlooked films on home video that are worth renting, featuring stars such as Clint Eastwood, Bridget Fonda, and Dennis Quaid. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Sundance brings you sparkling water, real fruit juice, and less than 10 calories per serving in Sundance Light. Real taste, real refreshment, real light. Easy Spirit Light's the first light shoe with the right support. Real arch support plus all the cushioning of an athletic shoe. So now you can hit the pavement without the pavement hitting you. St. Ives Swiss Formula Apricot Scrub. St. Ives Swiss Formula polishes your complexion beautifully, naturally. St. Ives Swiss Formula Apricot Scrub. Klondike Caramel Light Bars. Great caramel taste, less fat, no sugar added. What would you do for a Klondike?
Ebert.